The loony left is using LGBTQ+, basically the alphabet, to groom and indoctrinate kids into victim groups, so they can tell them that everyone who is not in that group is oppressing that particular group, and CRT to indoctrinate them to be good little communists. If you don't believe me, they're already talking about arresting people for using speech they don't like.
First of all, as a high school volleyball player, I commend these guys. Let's do it. Let's go for boys volleyball. And I'm also so excited about the teachers who got their national board certified certificates. I just wish the same was true for all of those kids who didn't get their accommodations for scoring high on the PSATs. It's been a month for Fairfax County Public Schools. You guys continue to be in the news domestically and internationally. Here are some of the headlines, in case you missed them, that tell a story about how our school district continues to slip into a deepening crevasse of failure because of you guys. Virginia's school district walks back letter that appeared to exclude white Asians from college prep services. New Asian exclusion app pops up in FCPS program. 84% of Fairfax County parents oppose gender-combined education classes. Fairfax County Public Schools get funding from Chinese government. Fairfax County Public Schools continue to violate FERPA. Fairfax County Public School board member labels World War II Battle of Iwo Jima as human evil. That's pretty sad. Fairfax Public Schools tell students they're inherently biased. Those are some of the news headlines this past month. And what is this board doing about this mess? You've decided to run for higher office because you actually believe that you have the maturity to serve at that level. Some of you have decided to run for re-election. Please don't. Just take your bat and ball and go home. You've made a mess. And finally, some of you have decided to not run for re-election because you know just how badly the school board has performed in the past 3 years. Thank you for going quietly into that good night. Your legacy of anti-science school closers will follow you and your shredded reputations for the rest of your lives. You've hurt our kids, you've hurt our future.
You know you're in a cult if 1. You believe you are what your imagination says you are. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. You know you're in a cult if 6. You believe reality isn't real. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. You know you're in a cult if 10. Thanks to Jamie Lee Curtis, who didn't know how many Oscars she'd won, them can't count. You know you're in a cult if 11. You will cry in protest to take a real black woman off a syrup bottle and a Quaker off a box of oats named Quaker Oats, only to put a fake white woman on a beer can. All while saying, I can't believe they're so upset over a beer can. Bud Light parent Anheuser-Busch's stock has lost $27 billion over Dylan Mulvaney. You know you're in a cult if 13. If you get triggered because someone doesn't think you're special because you were born into one of the CRT-approved victim groups, they believe deeds and personal responsibility warrant pride. You know you're in a cult if 18. Lost your shit over To Kill a Mockingbird and Huckleberry Finn but are screaming about banning books with gay sex and masturbation in school libraries. You know you're in a cult if 20. Will lie even with irrefutable evidence. You know you're in a cult if 21. Being so filled with hate, you will groom, mutilate, and murder your own children, all while calling your opposition fascists. You know you're in a cult if 22. Believes that out of 7 billion people on the planet, white, straight, males are somehow oppressing everyone else. You know you're in a cult if 23. Will lose your shit when someone points out that you're not oppressed, you're just stupid. You know you're in a cult if 25. Will refer to a biology book as right-wing propaganda. You know you're in a cult if. 26. Will lose your shit if someone actually uses proper English instead of your made-up pronouns. You know you're in a cult if. 32. Are the same people who say you can't indoctrinate kids to be gay with a book or a drag show, but continually accuse the church of doing that very thing. Although religion isn't taught in schools, and you're not forced to go to church. You know you're in a cult if. 33. When someone is simply talking science and common sense, you will try to bring religion into it. Well, you know the church. Well then, don't go to church. It's not against the law. Not going to school is. You know you're in a cult if. 34. Will use unrelated behavior to justify their sick, grooming behavior. You know you're in a cult if. 39. Will lose your shit when someone says you're in a woke cult, and to prove you're not, you do the things on this list over and over and over. You know you're in a cult if. 40. Will accuse your opposition of that which you are guilty. You know you're in a cult if. 46. Consider chemically castrating a pedophile horrible and inhumane, but chemically castrating a child just dandy.